Hey everybody, let's work together today to create a mixed media collage inspired by Hilma af Klint. Hilma af Klint is this awesome artist who is from Sweden, and she may have been the world's first abstract painter. Kandinsky, one of our artists that we learned about earlier this year, is also an early abstract painter, but Hilma af Klint was a secret one. She hid her art for years and years, thinking that the world was not ready for them. She may be right, we'll never know. But today you have already made your painted background. Today we are going to draw. On top of this, we are going to cut and glue and collage paper on top of this as well. So let's work together. Use this video to help you, to give you ideas. Your art does not have to look like mine. It does not even have to look exactly like hers. I'm using her art as my inspiration. I look at her photos. I also use the symbol sheet, and this symbol sheet can give me ideas about what symbols, shapes, lines, and patterns I too can add to my art. So we are inspired by her, but we do not have to copy her art exactly. Okay, let's get started. I have gathered my materials. I have my pictures for inspiration. I have my symbol sheet. I have my background. My name and teacher code is on the back. And I have tons of collage paper. So let's pick a pattern. All right. Today, as I work, some of it I'll be talking and some of it I'll be quiet. You can work with me, or you can work on your own. Glance up to watch this video as you make your art today. So this is one collage technique. You can draw it first, and then you can cut that shape out. I'm going to draw some of my symbols inspired by Hilma af Klint. I am going to cut some of my symbols inspired by Hilma af Klint. I can mix and match, and the wonderful thing about collage is I can always set it down on my paper, and if I don't like where it is in that spot, I just move it to another spot. Alright, I like it so far. I'm going to use a light color pencil, and I'm going to sketch out some of the shapes. Let's look at some of hers. I really like that flower symbol. Oop, and I also see it on my symbol sheet right here. I'm going to make that the focal point. Probably one of the larger symbols, because I notice some of her artwork is larger. Some of the symbols in it are larger, some of it are smaller, so you can vary the size to fill your whole composition. It's always a good idea to look back and forth between the picture and your art, because if you just look at your art, you might not know what you're supposed to draw. Coloring back and forth, filling in my snowflakes, staying inside my lines. I can experiment with different materials. Use a crayon instead, see how that looks. use some symmetry. When I cut that shape out, I folded my paper in half so I could get two pieces at the same time. Get out my glue stick, use my messy mat to do my gluing, glue the back, no floppy fish, press it here. So here I drew it, but then I changed my mind. I think I wanted to collage it, and a collage is a drawn, cut, and glued little piece of paper to a larger piece of paper to make a picture. Folding paper in half and cutting through both sides makes your shape double. You can get two of the shape in half the time. Pressing it down. No floppy fish here. Remember, floppy fish is when your paper is still peeling up. You don't have enough glue. I think I like this one right here. When you're making collage, it's all about shapes. Instead of drawing the picture, it's all about cutting that shape out first and then putting it down. I like that, but I think I might use paper instead. The wonderful thing is you can always cover it up. Let's draw that shape instead. This flower has symmetry because it has two of each shape, just like Hilma off Klint's art. A good idea to always put your shape on where you want it so you know which side to put your glue on. I almost glued this side, but really that's the front. So I need to glue this side. Looking good. Okay, let's look at some other artwork. I like that flower symbol, but I have used a lot. One symbol that she uses a lot is this kind of circle that gets larger and larger and larger and larger. I really like that. It's kind of like a spiral. Okay, I like that. She has black and green and orange and white and blue and pink. All of these colors, we're going to make a little bit bigger version of this guy. This will be the largest ring. Look how I'm drawing my shape on the edge of my paper, not smack dab in the middle. That way I can still use that space for something else. When I want to make my next ring, I'll make it slightly smaller. As you cut your shapes, turn your paper instead of turning your wrist. It's much easier. I really like that. Super cool. And that symbol is inspired by this symbol right here. But I see that there are some lines coming off of it. I might be inspired by that line when I draw one. She uses a purple, so I might do that. I might make it slightly different. I can always draw it in pencil first and change my mind if I don't like what I do. She uses lots of swirly whirlies. I like that. She makes it thicker, or makes some of her lines thicker, I should say. And then some of them narrower. She even fills in some of her shapes with a different color from the background. Okay. Okay, look at our symbol sheet. Get some inspiration. We've already made a shape like that. And let's make a Venn diagram shape. A Venn diagram shape, that symbol looks a lot like this symbol, but because I don't have room for this anymore, I'm going to maybe use some overlapping, but keep it a little bit smaller. So look at her art. There are symbols that overlap, things that look like they are in front, so you can do that, but a lot of the symbols are kind of separated out. They're kind of standing on their own instead of all in a deep space. They're almost all flat. This yellow shape pretty much stands on its own. Nothing's in front of it and nothing's behind it, except for this little teeny tiny corner that overlaps. So I might do a little overlapping with the Venn diagram, but not keep it as big, because I decided to make this flower symbol my focal point, whereas it was a little smaller in her artwork. So I changed the size of it, the size and the scale. Let's use this paper. Let's draw a circle. And if I want the circles to match, I take the circle I just cut, I can trace it. Oops. Any pencil lines I got in the front, I can always flip my circle over to the non-pencil line side. An easier way to make the two circles than I realized is I could have put this paper on top of here and cut out both at once, but you live and you learn. Okay, now when they cross over and overlap a little bit, I want the center to be a different color. You know, pink and blue when they mix together kind of makes a lilac. I wonder if we can find that color. Okay, this is not lilac, but it is close to it. Lilac, kind of like a violet color. So let's put this right up here so I know what size to make it. Needs to be about that long, and I'm going to make a football shape. Okay, I'm putting it on. I can see that I can maybe cut off just a little bit here and here. When you are drawing your shapes, there's a side that might have the pencil line and there's a side without the pencil line. Put the glue on the side on the side with the pencil line, so that what stands out is the clean side. No floppy fish. If there's not enough glue, peel it up, put some glue on the back and press it back down. You can always flip it over and massage it too. Okay, put the pink on next. Although I might put this on next actually, so I know how much to cross over. Not that, not that, right there. Looking good. Inspired by Hilma of Klint. I'm getting close to where I probably want to stop adding collage and start to draw a lot of the lines that she has. I noticed around a lot of her shapes she has white outline. That's a really good thing that I could add with a colored pencil. For example, right around here. Okay, I want to make one of these spirals. But watch closely. I will first cut on my line that I drew, but you'll see something in just a moment. Always turning the paper, not your scissors. Okay, looks really fun, but look what happens when I put it on top. Oop, you don't see the spiral anymore because there are no gaps in between. So what I have to do now is cut away some of that thickness. I'm going to cut away some of that thickness. I'm cutting one more time, making the whole spiral narrower. This can be tricky, so be careful as you do it. Okay. Here's the secret I didn't tell you. When you do that, you get two spirals. Two spirals! Super cool. And because my line is thinner, then I can overlap it on top of something else, and it's not going to cover up all my hard work that I've already done. Alright, here's the tricky part, is gluing. You want to be super duper careful. Hold it down. Glue it very carefully because this spiral can rip. Might even be good to go like this, where you just move it along the top of the glue stick until every bit of it is coated in glue. Because if you press down on the spiral, it might just tear as you're trying to glue it. Alright, where do I want this? Do I want it here? Do I want it here? Here? I think I want it slightly overlapping this. Alright, I see there's no glue here. Let me add that. Alright, I have created the main shapes of my collage. It's time to use a lot of pencil. Let's look back at those pictures. I just put yellow on top of blue, but it's not showing up because it's kind of turning green because yellow and blue make green. So instead, I'm going to make that a collage. Collage will always stand out really well. It looks like a mini guitar. It's so cute. I can erase extra pencil lines if I see them left over. Pressing really hard when I start to draw those elements of my art that are just line, no collage. I want to press hard. I want those sticking out just as well as my collage. If you press too light, they won't show up. Now, if you know cursive, you might be really good at drawing a lot of Hilma af Klint's lines. I know some cursive, and I made some of these kind of look like letters, like an L or an E, but I kind of made up the rest. Because if you look at her art, a lot of it does look like letters, but they don't necessarily spell something. They might be a little bit of a gibberish. Be gentle as you erase around colored pencil in case you use your pencil first, because it can erase a little bit, so you might have to go back and add a little bit more. Make it a little darker. Awesome. Watch how we draw the swirls. A lot of Hilma off Klint's arts makes these crazy swirls.
You can also draw on top of what you're collaging. So once you glue something down, that doesn't mean you can't draw on top of it. Alright friends, I could keep going and I could keep adding more, but I'm really satisfied with it. I think that my composition looks good because I have a main focal point, I have some smaller areas, I have geometric, or I have organic shapes, and I have geometric shapes like circles. I have multiple examples of her symbols all throughout. I have her flower, her spiral, I have this kind of large egg that gets smaller and smaller, a circle, I have lines. So I have a good variety all over my composition. There's not one corner that's not filled up with some Hilma af Klint symbol or pattern, and that's what I'm looking for. Have fun, experiment like Hilma af Klint, let your mind make your decisions as you make it. You might surprise yourself with what you can make. Good luck!